Hello everyone. Today we're going to refocus on strength building, and we're going to do that with deep awareness. This involves always core strength in whatever you're doing, but it also involves challenging the areas in our body that might be weak. And if we don't do that, if we don't challenge the weaker areas, of course, then they'll stay weak forever. So it's not different from what you've been doing all along. You're going to come right up to the edge and not go any further. And to do that successfully does require a deep focus and awareness. So we will start there. The other thing it may involve is releasing tension in places in the body that might impede the strength building somewhere else. So we will do that seamlessly. And we'll start as we generally start in a little centering position. So find your comfortable seated posture for today of your choice. And just give yourself a couple of moments to really settle there. And begin to feel the alignment and let yourself go inward for the next few moments. And you want to focus on really deep, full inhales and long, slow exhales. And as you align the awareness with your breathing, just start to spread that awareness out to other parts of the body as you continue to breathe those long, slow breaths. And just notice how your shoulders, the tops of your shoulders and the upper back are feeling. And then as you continue to breathe, notice how your neck is feeling. And with your deep, full breaths, take the awareness right up to the very base of your skull and just notice if there's tension there. And as you continue to breathe just like this, let's just introduce a little movement. So begin just to look up. You can keep your eyes closed if you want, or open if that's more comfortable. And just look up as far as is comfortable for you, and then you're going to look all the way down. Continuing to breathe, coming back to center, and then you're just going to look over your right shoulder just as far as you can, until that natural stopping point occurs, and come back to center. Long, slow breaths continue throughout this little practice, and then you're looking over to the left. You're just noticing if there's any sensation in your neck that maybe shouldn't be there. And then still long, slow breaths from center. You're attempting to put your right ear closer to your right shoulder. Back to center, and left ear to left shoulder. You might get some new information with these little movements. And coming back to center, you're continuing those deep, full inhales, long, slow exhales, and then just allow your chin, the next exhale, to come on closer to your chest. Just notice if there's any sensation in the back of your neck or the base of your skull. And just slowly, just keep breathing and just slowly let your chin arc over towards your right shoulder. And make sure the left shoulder doesn't rise up when you do that. And this may be enough, especially if you've got any neck issues, but if it's not, just ever so gently with the chin in that position, can you just attempt to turn the left ear, a little more towards the ceiling. And it might only be a little centimeter of movement. And see if that causes any sensation. And then lower the ear back to that starting position. And then take the chin over to center. And then arc it right over to the left, towards the left shoulder. Just Notice any sensations around the right shoulder or anywhere really, and make sure the right shoulder doesn't ride up or get skewed. Try to keep it level with the left. If all is well, just slightly, you're going to turn that right ear, the upper ear, a little more towards the ceiling, keeping the chin low like it is. So it's just a tiny movement. And then release back to the ear being level as it was. And then bring the chin to center. Just a couple more breaths, inhaling all the way, looking up. And slowly exhale, looking down. Just in your own time, in your own breathing, just do this a couple more times. You're looking all the way up to the ceiling and looking all the way down to the floor. One more time. And the next time the chin is towards the chest, when you inhale, just come on to center. Take your hands right off your lap. You're still breathing long, full breaths, and just rise the arms right up. And from here, you're going to clasp the right wrist with the left arm and just give yourself a little pull on the next inhale. Get nice and long on the right side of the body. And then as you exhale, come into a little side bend. And you can pull, really pull with that assisting hand on that right wrist. And just feel that, what that does to the body. And then let's release up to center, reach up high, and then clasp the left wrist, again with the right, this time with the right hand. As you inhale next, really pull nice and long, and then go over on the exhale. Just hold this for a couple of breaths. While you're doing that, you're trying to pull and lengthen through the left arm and the left side body as much as you can. And you're sort of looking up at a diagonal, somewhere around your left elbow. Oh, and then release on the inhale. Reach up high and exhale. Just let the arms come back to the floor. Namaste. Let's all come to our backs now. We're going to start moving really thoroughly, and but we're going to keep moving now once we've started. So come on down to the floor. If you think a stretch would feel good, you can have that now. Then on your next exhale, just bring the left knee towards the body and interlock your hands if that's comfortable. And as you exhale next, pull it a little closer in and just see what's going on in the back body, the low back. Does that cause any sensation in the body? Just feel that. And just hold it for another breath and let it go. And on your next exhale, you're going to bring the right knee closer in, interlock your hands. And on the next exhale, you're going to bring the right thigh even closer in. And see if you can hold it there just for a couple of breaths. Just notice any sensations. Probably going to cause sensations more in the lumbar spine now. Very good. And then release that, and we're going to bring both knees into the chest now. And when you do that, go ahead and draw them in, and then let them separate. And you're just resting the sides of your knees on your wrists and cupping with your hands a little bit. Let the thighs go wide and just swing a little bit, sway a little bit side to side. Just loosening everything up. And then you want to come to stillness when you're at center at some point, and just pivot just a little bit on your sacrum. So it's a little movement that causes the knees to move and maybe the feet to move a little bit, but you're just focusing on just moving and arcing that sacrum to one side and then the other, just keeping it, of course, on the floor while you do that. Little bit of movement. Lovely. And then bring the thighs together and go ahead and bring the knees, or rather the legs, extended straight up. And on your next inhale, press vigorously through the balls of the feet. And when you exhale, bend the knees and bring them as high into the body as you can. You can use your arms to help. And on the exhale, you're gathering those thighs as close in. If you need to separate your knees a little bit, thighs, that's fine. As you inhale, you're bringing the legs right back up again, and bring the legs together if you have separated them, and press out through the balls of the feet. As you exhale, knees bend, drawing the thighs closer into the body. And as you inhale, bring the legs up, pressing out through the balls of the feet. Just a few more breaths like this. As you exhale, really gather those thighs close into the body. And as you inhale, you're extending the legs upward and focusing on pressing out through the balls of the feet. It might cause your toes to separate a little bit. That's good. As you exhale again, knees close in. Just feel what that does to your back. And inhale, you're extending the legs up vigorously. Just do this one more time on your own breath. And just take your time and feel all the sensations. And then the next time your legs are extended up like that, we're going to leave them there. And you're going to interlock your fingers and place those interlocked hands behind your neck like a little hammock. And remember the movement where you're trying to press slightly the low back into the floor. So that little tea towel analogy, you're going to feel as though you're lying on a tea towel, and you're not going to let anyone pull that tea towel out from under you. So there is the beginning position. As you exhale, really holding that tea towel in place, you're lowering the right leg almost to the floor. Continue the exhale right on back up again. Big inhale at the top. As you exhale next, the left leg comes down almost to the floor and then rises back up again. Same exhale. Remember that engagement, you're pressing the low back slightly into the floor, and keep going like this. You're exhaling the leg down and exhaling it back up again. Inhaling at the top. And just alternate legs and just go for just a few more breaths on your own breathing pattern. Remembering to really hold the low back close into the floor. So there is the level of abdominal engagement you'll need throughout your practice. So really feel the firmness in your abdominal core. Lovely. The next time, and make sure you've done an even number on both sides, but the next time your legs are extended up, I want you to exhale and just bend the knees and stack those knees over your hip joint and let the shins be parallel to the floor. And in this position, again, remember the tea towel on your low back, and then just allow the knees to go in front of the hip joints. Just until that little sense of pull. You have to work really hard to keep those abs engaged. And so you do that and just find your edge and just hold it now for 2 or 3 breaths. Of course, you know, to come away from the challenge, you just bring your thighs closer into your chest when you need to. So the low back is pushing into the floor or going in that direction, and your abdominal core is really engaged. So when you breathe, you have to breathe with your chest in this kind of core work. Very good. And then let's all bring our thighs. If you haven't already done that, bring your thighs towards your chest. And let your hands just drape around the front of your shins and the front of your knees. And on the exhale, go ahead and bring the thighs closer in, knees closer into your armpits or to your chest. Lovely. And then let's go ahead and roll up. And we're all going to come to tabletop. Lining yourself up in tabletop as you know how to do. And once you have your hands in place, remember you want that weight a little more towards the inner hands. And just as you inhale, press into those inner hands as you rise up in the heart. And as you exhale, rounding the spine with that abdominal core engagement. Just make it nice and easy at first, but we're going into cat-cow. With each progressive movement, you just take it a little further. Just whatever your edge is, you'll find that within 2 or 3 breaths. So that the next time you've inhaled, if you'd like to come into cat-cow wheel, on the exhale, as you feel the progressive abdominal contraction and the beginning of the rounding of the spine, you're just going to go ahead and settle your hips towards your heels. Once you get there, on the inhale, you're going to just look forward a little bit. Traction those hands towards you, like you're trying to pull the floor towards you. And just allow the torso to roll through the arms as you come on back up into the cow position. So that's the movement. If you choose to come along into cat-cow wheel, that's what it's going to look like. And remember, if you're feeling sensation in your neck, it's really important in the exhale phase that when you get there, you let the neck relax, let the low back relax before you shift to the inhale phase, looking up between your hands and just tractioning the floor towards you as you pull your torso through the arms. Lifting the heart when you get there, and then segueing right into the cat portion of the wheel. After several repetitions, just allow yourself to, when you're ready, to come to the tabletop position. You might want to do it once or twice more. It's up to you, but we're all going to end up in that neutral tabletop, looking right down at our hands. If you need to move your head and neck a little bit, feel free to do that. And then bringing your hands 1 hand length further ahead, finding those inner hands again, flexing the toes under, push yourself into downward facing dog. So you're pushing the floor away. The upper arms are really, really engaged, coming towards each other isometrically. And you come into your downward facing dog. Let it be a stretch for you. If you need to put a little bend in your knees, of course you can do that. It's up to you. Just find your way in this pose that really feels best for your body. If this is the first time you've done downward facing dog in a while, you might need to just walk it out. And then just one more time as you inhale, bring the knees to the floor, progressively bring those upper arms isometrically towards each other, and lift your heart into a cow-like movement. As you exhale, come into a cat-like movement. As you inhale, back into the cow. And as you exhale, you can rest the hips back towards the heels into an extended pose of a child. As you inhale, come on into plank. Nice strong plank. As you exhale, progressive abdominal contraction takes you right back into the downward facing dog position. We're just going to do that one more time so that as you inhale, from downward facing dog, knees touch the floor. Remember, you want to feel the upper arms isometrically coming towards each other. Keep the arms strong. Inhale, look up. And as you exhale into the cat position, a little rounding of the spine. Make it feel good as you inhale back into the cow. As you exhale, let's come on into the extended child's pose. And as you inhale, coming into plank. And slowly from plank, let your knees touch the floor. Come onto the elbows and forearms and let the hands face each other. Clasp those hands and let's all come into a forearm plank. You might need to wiggle around on the elbows to get them really comfortable. And it's up to you. If it feels better to interlock your hands, you can. Some people actually have an easier time just on their forearms. So you decide and explore this just for a couple of moments and see what works best for you. What you want is to press into the floor with your forearms so the shoulders and neck are comfortable, but you also have to have a really firm rolling in of the abdominal core. And can you, in this position, just a little bit, look forward, keeping the abdominal core engagement, feeling that strength. And whenever you need to, you're going to put your knees to the floor and come on right down to the floor into the prone position. And just let your forehead rest on the floor for just a moment. So if you were really engaging your core, as I'm sure we all were, you're going to feel this. It's going to, when you release it, it feels so good. So just allow yourself to have 2 or 3 really long, slow breaths to recover, and then bring the arms right alongside the torso. And let's just have a little version of locust pose now, so that I need to move your hips back and forth. Make sure you feel heavy in the lower body, particularly around the pubic bone and tailbone right now. As you inhale next, just begin to slowly move your forehead and nose, graze it as if you're just trying to look forward a few inches, and then let your shoulders rise up, let your arms rise up, and just lift your heart as much as it wants to. Look forward a few inches, and exhale, let's release it back down to the floor. Next inhale, let's try that again. So you're just feeling first rooted through the pubic bone and pelvis to the floor, and then you start to look up, just taking your gaze a few inches forward and up. Let the shoulder bones come away from the floor. Let the arms come away from the floor. You might want to just wing out with the thumbs a little bit, and then release down. And so you decide if you want to come into the full locust pose. That involves raising the legs as well. And so assess where you are. See if that's accessible to you. Otherwise, you're just going to come back into what we've just done, okay? So as you inhale, slowly start looking forward. As you raise the head, you're raising the shoulder bones, raising the arms, and reaching back with the arms. If you can, you might be able to raise the legs a few inches from the floor. And again, you want to feel a rootedness through your pubic bone. And release when you need to. Back to the floor again. A couple of deep breaths. Keep that breath long and slow and flowing. And then as you're ready, we're all going to come into pose of a child. So pushing the hands into the floor, lifting yourself up. And come into any pose of a child that you would choose right now. So maybe that's even widening the knees a little bit. So this is your pose, and really make sure you can release into it and get the most benefit from your pose of a child. And once you find it, you're going to really let yourself have 3 to 5 long, slow breaths here. And remember to feel as though you're breathing right into the back body, releasing fully and completely all that stale breath as you exhale. In fact, the next time you exhale, sigh it out. Just let it go. And then we're going to slowly start to mobilize and come up to standing as you're ready. So make sure that's done incrementally, where you're noticing every little movement, every little sensation, and just feel your way through it, just as if you were doing it for the first time. And as you lift your hips away from your heels, feel the challenge in your thighs. Let the heels come to the floor first, and then put one hand on top of each thigh and come all the way up to standing. So come on up to standing, and any little stretch you need is fine. So it's really important. All you're doing now is just making sure the body is comfortable and ready to do our standing poses. So come into your Tadasana when you're ready. Nice full slow breaths, and as you inhale, you're just raising the arms straight up over your head. And as you exhale, arms out to the sides, all the way in a big circle, and hands back to the heart, or hands to the heart. And from here on the exhale, just lower the hands. On the inhale, rise up in the hands, but also raise your heels off the floor, so you're coming onto the balls of the feet. And as you exhale, you're releasing the heels, releasing the arms, all the way back to hands to the heart position. As you exhale, letting the hands go straight down the midline of the body. As you inhale, rising the hands, or arms rather, straight up as you come up onto the balls of the feet. And as you exhale, release the heels, release the arms, coming back to hands at the heart. And again, as you exhale, releasing the hands straight down the midline of the body. As you inhale, releasing the arms, or rather rising the arms up as you raise up the heels. Feel the challenge in your balance and hold that for just a breath. And then as you exhale, let's release down. Arms down, heels down, and hands to the heart. And this time we're going to repeat, but we're going to go right into Uttanasana. So as you exhale, hands go down the midline of the body. Inhale, you're rising up. Heels stay to the floor. As you exhale, you're floating down, deep bend in the knees. Make it easy on your low back. Touching the floor as you come down. And we're going to come straight back up again. So as you inhale, you're pushing off the feet as if you're diving off a diving board and rising back up again. And let's repeat. As you exhale, hands come to the heart. And just take it right on down. As you inhale, arms rise up. As you exhale, just swan dive into your forward bend. Bend your knees as generously as you need to. As you inhale, you're pushing off and coming right back up again. As you exhale, hands come straight down and you just continue on just like that. One more time. As you inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, you're swan diving over. Coming right back up again, pushing and coming off. Very good. And we're just going to continue on just a little bit like this. So we're going to continue on to little movements of sun salute. So hands to the heart. As you exhale next, take those folded hands straight down the midline of the body. Little different as you inhale and rise the arms straight up. And feel the extension. As you exhale, you're swan diving right to the floor. And this time, as we inhale, we're going to rise the heart and straighten the thighs as much as you can. And a little bend in the knees now, so that when you exhale, line up those fingers and toes and step the right leg back. Immediately, you're just putting that knee onto the floor. See what happens when you come on up with interlocked hands to the knee. If all is well, let's go ahead and release the arms on the exhale. Hold the position with the muscular strength you have as you inhale, rise up with the arms. As you exhale, bend at the elbows in that little cactus shape or goalpost shape. Hold that with your muscular control all through the core. Very slowly on your next exhale, just turn slightly your chest and arms to the right. And then back to center. And then turn ever so gently to the left, holding everything in place with your core muscles. And as you inhale to center, continue that movement all the way up with arms over the head. As you exhale, release the arms to the floor. Flex your toes under, come into a high lunge. If all is well in your high lunge, put a little more weight into the right hand so you can do a little bit of a twist here as you inhale next. Left arm comes up. When you get it up as high as it can go, I want you to think about pressing back through the back heel. And can you hold this for a couple of breaths? Really firmly, your right hand is planted into the floor and you're reaching up as much as you can with the left. And release, left arm down. Very lovely. And then let's all come into downward facing dog. Release your head and neck, let go of all that tension. And then as you inhale, we're coming into plank pose. Your arms are really strong and your core is really strong. As you exhale, just simply touch the knees to the floor. And prepare yourself for an upward facing dog. So when you inhale next, you can press into the hands and elongate through the upper body. And point your heart a little forward and up. As you exhale, you want to really engage the abdominal core as you come on back to your downward facing dog. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and do your little step through. If that's really not very accessible to you, it's absolutely fine from downward facing dog. Just touch your knees to the floor and bring your right foot forward. If that's much more doable, go ahead and do it that way. And we're all going to end up in high lunge on the other side. Square your hips, square your chest, and just have a few repetitions of exhaling into pyramid pose and inhaling into the high lunge. Exhaling into pyramid pose and inhaling into the high lunge. And last time, exhaling into pyramid pose and inhaling into the high lunge. You're going to take a couple little steps if you need to and bring it right back into your forward bend. And just let the neck relax a little bit here. So let gravity do a little bit of work. You can bend your knees as much as you need to, just to let the head and neck relax down a little bit. When you're ready to come up, you want to press into the feet, engage your core, let your heart lead. As you inhale, breathe up. And as you exhale, press the hands to the heart. And let's all just do that same exact sequence on the other side. I'll guide you right through it. So hands to the heart. As you exhale, you're bringing those folded hands straight down the midline of the body. As you inhale, you're sweeping the arms up and feeling the length in the torso, pressing into the feet, reaching upward with the hands. As you exhale, swan dive into your forward bend. Hands touch the floor. As you inhale, lift the heart and send the knees back, send the thighs back if that's doable. As you exhale, a little core engagement as you bend the knees. Line up those fingers and toes and step back now with the left leg. And when you get there, you're just going to set that left knee to the floor. And then you're going to see if you can interlock those hands and come up to that front knee. Take just a moment to square the chest, square the pelvis, and see, is it okay to continue? So if it is, you're going to let the arms drop to the sides of the body. You have to hold the posture more with your core then. As you inhale, reach the arms up. Really press into the front foot. As you exhale, bend the elbows and come into that little goalpost shape. As you exhale next, the chest and arms turn a little bit to the right. As you inhale, back to center. And as you exhale, a little bit over to the left. And inhaling to center, and then right on up. As you exhale now, hands come back to the floor. Tuck those toes under, come into your high lunge. And if all is well, and you feel okay, a little more weight into the left hand and arm so you can inhale into the twist, sweeping the right arm up. And once you get it up there, pointing towards the ceiling, see if can you press the back heel back a little more, shift that weight back just another inch or so, and just breathe in this twist. Make sure that front bent knee doesn't bow out to the side. And then when you're ready to exit, you just do that on an exhale. Come back to the high lunge. Line everything up so you can exhale into your downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, we're going to inhale into plank, really strong arms, strong core. And then touch the knees to the floor as you exhale. And you're just preparing yourself to come into upward facing dog, a nice modified version, pressing into the hands as you inhale and lengthen upward through the torso. As you exhale, feel that abdominal core working as it pulls you back into downward facing dog. And here's your choice. You're either going to take the leg back and sweep it through. And if you're going to choose to do that, remember as you exhale and sweep it through, focus on core strength and gripping the floor like you're tractioning yourself forward. And you might get not as far doing that, but you'll enhance your core strength if you can do it. And again, this is always the option. Drop your knees and bring your left foot forward. And from here, we're all going to end up in the high lunge. Make sure everything's okay. And then we're going to have that little vinyasa as you exhale into the pyramid pose. Release your head and neck, and you're trying to extend that front leg. Feel a little weight in the ball of the back foot. Inhaling into the high lunge and exhaling into the pyramid pose. And back into high lunge, looking forward, heart points forward if you can. And you exhale one more time into pyramid pose. And from here on the inhale, you're going to come into high lunge just briefly and then continue on up, stepping into your forward bend, your Uttanasana. As you exhale, release as much as you can into your forward bend. And really feel this transition. As you begin to inhale to come up, let the weight shift back towards your heels. Feel your core helping your chest look forward as you sweep the arms out. And come on up with real strength here. And exhale, hands back to the heart. Brilliant, you've done really well. And you saw how we broke that down really slowly and did all these movements very thoroughly. And to end the standing sequence, this is totally up to you. We're going to just do a simple sun salute, one on either side, and we're just going to move on the breath. So if you've had enough, you can pause. It's only going to take a couple of minutes, or you can come along, okay? So hands to the heart. We're going to move on the breath. As you exhale, hands go right down the midline. As you inhale, they sweep up and you feel that extension. As you exhale, you come right into the forward bend. As you inhale, you lift the heart and maybe straighten the knees. As you exhale, you step back with the right leg into your high lunge. Next move is exhaling into your downward facing dog. As you inhale into your plank pose, feel the strength first before you release the knees down on the exhale, and inhaling into your upward facing dog. As you exhale, firm abdominal core work brings you back to downward facing dog. And inhaling, either stepping through or bringing knees down and just putting the right foot forward, coming into high lunge. From high lunge, you're going to rock and roll a little bit. The ball of the back foot pushes you forward into your Uttanasana, and you release as you exhale. Inhale, sweeping up, continuing right onto the other side. The hands come together, float right down the midline of the body as you exhale. When you inhale, they sweep back up. And when you exhale next, into your forward bend. From forward bend, it's just a little inhale that rises your heart up and maybe stretches the backs of your legs if you can. As you exhale, Hands and toes line up and you step back with the left leg. And just take that moment to perfect your high lunge. From high lunge, on the exhale, we'll go into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we'll inhale plank. Exhale, knees down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Heart looks forward and the shoulders go back as much as you're able to do. As you exhale, firm abdominal core work will bring you into downward facing dog safely. And then you choose either sweeping through or knees down and stepping that left foot forward. Into the high lunge. And then you can rock just a little bit so you can step up into your into your Uttanasana and release completely the next time you exhale. As you inhale, feel weight into the heels, a little shift now as you bend the knees, heart looks forward, and you inhale, sweep up. Exhale, just fold hands to the heart. And just allow yourself a few breaths here. Either defocus your eyes or close your eyes completely. And let your breath be long and slow. And slowly blink your eyes open. Bring your arms to the sides of the body. Well done, everybody. And let's all now come to the floor for closing out. So as you come down, let's take it all the way down to reclining back. And let's just have a few cooling twists now. So go ahead and come into your full stretch if you'd like. And some of you, just see what feels best. Some of you might want to come into a little X shape with the arms and legs slightly separated. And then inhale and stretch out. Just see if that feels better. Or maybe you want to do both with arms and legs straight. And then maybe in the little X shape. Let's see how that feels. But when you've done that, you'll want to come back with soles of the feet on the floor and try to walk those shoulder blades a little bit more underneath you. And from this position with the soles of the feet on the floor, just simply cross that right ankle over the left knee. And nice and easy as you exhale, take it on over towards the right. And put your arms now wherever they're comfortable. Sometimes it might be more comfortable to put them more to shoulder height, but sometimes not. So just decide what's best here. I want you to really feel the pull in the left side, that diagonal pull on the left side of the body. Just have a couple nice long slow breaths. Just let these natural stretches and twists work their magic on your body, and they will if you allow the breath, allow the body to surrender into the stretch. So don't rush this part. After maybe 3 breaths, make sure your head's turning to center, and it's on an exhale that you want to come up. Uncross and stretch the right leg up, and have a little stretch there. And then place the right sole of the foot on the floor, cross left ankle over the right knee. Do the same thing on the other side. So you're just taking that over now, knees over to the left. And just being careful that that right shoulder blade doesn't try to come up off the floor. And sometimes remember, it helps just to turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. You decide, just explore these different movements and what really feels best to your body today. As much as you can, let the facial muscles relax and just sink into this twist. Long, full breaths here. And when you're coming out, you want to look up to the ceiling first, and on an exhale, with a little contraction in your abdomen, come on back up again. And then uncross the leg and stretch the left leg up towards the ceiling. And then you can bend the knees. From here, really cozy up so the ankles, the knees, and the thighs are as close as they can. Bring your arms out. If you can tuck those shoulder blades underneath you a little bit more if they've gotten floppy there. And then on an exhale, just stack the legs over each other, first to one side. And you're only coming over as far as the body allows. So you're not trying to push, you're not trying to force. Just feel this twist, nice and gentle. And just allow those 3 slow breaths so the body can settle a little bit in the twist. And you're breathing as fully and deeply as you can. And then when you're ready to come up, a little pressure in your elbows, but you're doing that on an exhale. Coming back to center, a little movement at center to reset those hips if you'd like. And then coming over to the other side. Remember, you just want the inside of the ankle bone and the knees and thighs lined up as well as you can. And you're attempting to stack one leg on top of the other in this particular version of twist, okay? Coming over to the right with the knees and trying to be careful that that left shoulder blade doesn't become airborne. And just feel the heaviness as you sink as much as you can. And the twist might become a little more enhanced when you do that. And when you are coming out, you're looking to center and you're pressing into the elbows and being firm in the abdominal core. And then just one last little twist. Before we do that, let's bring both knees up into the chest and separate those thighs and maybe rock side to side a little bit. Now, if all is well, you're coming into the final twist. It's in a slightly different part in your spine. It's intended to be. So for this, you need to bring the thighs and knees as close into the body as your fitness or whether your flexibility allows, okay? And from here, as if your legs are glued together again, the inside of your legs, you're rolling over to the left. It's okay in this twist if your right shoulder blade becomes a little airborne, because what I want you to do is actually set the thigh onto the floor. And that might require, because of your flexibility, your right shoulder might come off the floor a little bit. So once you're safe here in the thighs, then you can work a little bit with trying to reach back slightly with that right arm and just see what kind of length you can put in your own spine, and turning your head just gently over to the right. And it will come without force. It will come into whatever version of this twist that your body can manage right now. Notice in this twist that it is harder to breathe really full, deep breaths, and you're just going to try to find that inner space to allow the breathing. Just notice any sensations that the twist is causing in your body. And when you're ready to exit, you're just looking up at the ceiling And this time you want to release the upper leg first and then the lower. And again, if you need any movement at the center, feel free to do that. And when you're ready to go to the other side, you want those thighs close together, knees close together, and you want the knees as close into the body as you can get. And when you're ready to go over, you're going to send those knees over to the right as if they're glued together. And remember, you can go ahead and let that left shoulder become airborne. So you can set the thighs down, the outside of that thigh down, and then you go ahead and work on a little lengthening in the spine and see how much you can get. Lengthen that left arm out and just look away from your knees, and it will happen however it can happen. And just let go of striving, let go of really trying, and just feel a sense of surrender here. And just notice your breathing as long and slow as you can to really find the space internally to allow for the breath. And once again, when you're ready to come out, you're looking up to the ceiling first. And on an exhale, you're just releasing first the upper leg, and then the lower leg comes. And you might feel the need for some final little movements now. And of course, you know you're coming into Savasana. So there's a couple things that might feel really good, and that's the supine bound angle with the soles of the feet together, and then rolling to one side, one hip and thigh, and then the other. And of course, you're free to choose your own version of whatever that would feel good right now. So at our level, it's really good to allow yourself to explore in this next minute. And as you're ready, let's all find our way now into Savasana. Final resting pose, or I should say relaxation pose. So just allow the body to surrender to the floor. Let your breath be really full and deep, and if you can, encourage those exhales just for the next few breaths to be a little bit longer than your inhales. You're doing this without strain, so again, you're not trying to make anything happen. You bring the suggestion into your mind and just allow the exhales to become just a little bit longer. For others, it might be able to be quite a bit longer, but even if you just do it for another fraction of a second longer, that's fine. And when you've had those longer exhales for several breaths, there'll be a point where you just would like to stop focusing on doing anything. And when you reach that point in your practice, just allow the breath to come to its own spontaneous pattern. Just have a final little check now. Just make sure that there's You're not holding on to tension in the jaw or in the neck or shoulders. And just let yourself go deeply for the next few breaths. So just like you know how to do, if you're going to close out with me, you're going to come up to a seated position. And again, you're going to respect your body when you do that. So you don't want to be abrupt at this stage at all. And you've always got the option, as we're all at home, you've got the option of continuing in Savasana if you prefer. And for those of you who are closing out with me, you've come to a seated posture now. And you've opened your eyes. And placing hands to the heart. Namaste. Thank you all. And see you in the next video.